him, you don't know wrestling. This man has held 6 different belts. The only team to win all 3 major belts. The Crockett Cup, this man's a legend in his
How am I not going to like this guy, right? He knows everything.
Now, I want to ask you one.
Welcome to part 2 of our special episode with Kevin Matthews and also about Broken Mary. Your thoughts after the first episode. Tell us your thoughts on this upcoming episode.
People have to watch this one. This will change people's lives, and that's not an exaggeration. It did change my life. Kevin changed our lives when we were listening to him on the radio. That's nothing compared to what's going on now.
So sit back for an inspirational episode of Hero Television.
First got diagnosed with MS. They thought it was a cancer, a brain tumor. And I was in Chicago. It was St. Patty's Day, 2009, and there wasn't a cloud in the sky. I was downtown Chicago. I had to go out to the western suburbs. I couldn't take the Stevenson because of the St. Patty's Day parade. So I had to take the Eisenhower. I hate the Eisenhower. You know, it's just like, oh, please. So I get on the Eisenhower, and I've got to go see this attorney. And, you know, it's brutal, the medication, the MS. And I get on the expressway, and I hear this voice. Now, this is before I found Broken Mary. I heard a voice that said, go to the cemetery. And I'm like, okay, I know what cemetery. There's Our Lady of, it's on Wolf Road, Our Lady of Queen of Heaven.
Oh, it's
It's
Hillside.
Hillside.
Yeah.
Well, Debbie and I, in the early 90s, there was, I read a newspaper Tribune article.
Capone?
Well, that's where Al
Yeah.
Capone's buried, but also that the Virgin Mary was, apparitions of the Virgin Mary were there. And children would take cameras, and we went out, and, you know, it was I felt it. Wow, this is a very holy place. So I get on the expressway, I know what cemetery. I haven't been out there, and I get towards Wolf Road, and I hear the voice again, go to the cemetery. I thought, well, what the heck, I might as well. I took Wolf Road, I pull in, it's a gigantic, and I knew right where to go. It's this huge cross, and Jesus is, it's a huge cross with Christ. It's not a cloud in the sky, I'm sitting in my truck, I just got out of the truck and I walked up, and the statue's so big, you have to stand, and I put my hand on Jesus's feet, and I just said, I am so afraid. I just let go. Just then, all this water started to come down on my arm and my hand, and this hand really didn't work from the MS, but I could suddenly move this hand, and it was like, I'll never forget that day. And then years later, I find the statue, and I was really being tested, I think, when I found that statue. Will you deny me? Will you deny my mother? And I think we're all asked that question, you know, and there comes a time, if I would have walked away from that statue, I don't think I'd be here. In fact, I know I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here. And I made a decision, and I just let him have it. Take the MS, take everything, and what a difference it's made.
And also, too, it seems like your faith from being at 4 years old, before the statue, because of all the good deeds you've done, and, you know, kind of an insurance of like, you know what, I will take care of you. All the charities and all the fundraisers you've done for people is like someone decided now it's time to take care of you.
Yeah, you know, and at the same time, you know, of all statues, the statue of the Virgin Mary, and what we used to do, you know, Lumpy or Pugsley, we'd host strip clubs and strippers, and, you know, there's a time when I couldn't even look at a statue of our mother, and now here I am looking at a broken statue next to a dumpster, and I picked her up. We put her back together. She was blessed. I went to confession. The one thing about Mary, the most important thing to me about the book is it's so relatable to, we're all broken, But at the same time, when you start to, when you're around Mary, the first thing she's going to teach you is the rosary. I didn't know how to say the rosary. So I thought, well, I'll say it for Lent. Well, Lent starting, I had to Google how to say the rosary. And this little Irish guy is doing a recording, and I'm thinking, wow, I could do that, you know, because it was scratchy. And I go, I did the rosary for Lent, but then this is before I wrote the book. I just found the statue a year ago, and I started the recording session. Oh man, and it took forever to record, and I'm recording with Sister Lucia, who's the Franciscan nun that helped me write the book. She's so tiny, and she was so, I love her to death, but she gave me the discipline I needed. She would always correct my diction, or, you know, she would say, Kevin, it's hallowed, or she was just brutal. But I love her to death. We finally got this app done. A friend of mine, Ed, who has worked with the Steve Dahl network, he's a genius when it comes to the internet and whatnot. We put the app together for Apple for free. People downloaded it all over the world. Then people go, well, I don't have an iPhone. So we made an app for smartphones. So now the rosary is being downloaded all over the world. And that to me is the message that my job is to just show people where the rosary is. The rosary to me is the most powerful weapon on the planet. You don't have to be Catholic to say the rosary. I've learned that when you hold a rosary, when you recite the rosary, when you hold the rosary, you're holding the hand of Mary. And when you hold the hand of Mary, you're holding the power of God. There are people that are watching that are addicted to drugs, porn, they've had alcohol, they've lost their job, they're so lost. The rosary will bring people back. It's the most powerful weapon on the planet. And people go to brokenmary.com and you can hear the rosary 24/7. I've literally watched miracles happen with people in the rosary.
Okay, one of your recurring themes is even from a youngster, you heard the voice. So, do you still hear a voice? You know,
what's interesting. You just know what to do. Yesterday, for example, it's like I can remember Fatima, Portugal, 100 years ago. Mary appears to 3 little children in Portugal with the message. The message is write the rosary. And heal the world, pray for peace. And that message hasn't changed. Father Mark, Sister Lucia, and we went to Fatima last year. And I can remember I'm sitting in the woods where Mary appeared to the children. And Father Mark and Sister gone, they walked, and I'm sitting, here's a statue. 100 years ago, Mary stood right here. And I looked at Mary and I said, well, now what? I'd written the book, I've got the apps for the rosary, and when I said now what, I look back, that was kind of smart. Now what? All of a sudden, this giant pine cone comes whizzing by my head. The first thing I thought, if that would have hit me, it would have killed me. Yeah. It was like a rock, and it shattered. And I looked at and it's as though Mary was saying, I want you to do anything but plant seeds. And the seeds are rosaries. Just bring people to the rosary. And I still have that pine cone. But I asked Father Mark, he came back, I said, Father, how many pine cones do you see on the ground here? He looks and he goes, I don't see any. I go, this giant one just about hit me in the head. And I still have that today, but that's my purpose in life. I know for a fact, when I was in Fatima, I was in a special church, and there was a painting of Mary, and there are 7 swords in her heart. She's bleeding. And I looked at her and I said, you know, I'm responsible for some of that blood. So I vow to you, I will care of you for the rest of my life. And that's what I want to do, is to heal her. But at the same time, anybody's listening, Rosary is the most, it's a gift to us in the 12th century by Mary herself. And I wish people would to it and use it, especially if you're trying to have a baby. Couples that have been trying to recite the Rosary, and suddenly they can have, you're not going to stay addicted to heroin and do the Rosary. You've got to be before. And so it's amazing to see how powerful and beautiful the grace of Mary gives to.
Do you think we could all hear the voices in of just being open?
Yeah, you do. People go, well, why doesn't God talk to me? Well, are you listening? When we're talking, we listen. When we talk, we're praying. We need to be silent. A God, then why do children die? Cancer. Well, I think every source to cure cancer. If there's a God, why do you go hungry? Well, because you waste food, you don't feed them. Quit blaming God for everything. And yes, you can. Listen, there's no thing as a coincidence. Have you ever thought, boy, I'm glad I didn't take the Stevenson that day. I heard they had an inkling to go on the ice. I'm really glad I didn't go on that plane, or I'm glad I didn't go. Did you hear what happened? I was supposed to be there. You just have to listen, listen. You have to believe, and you have to let go, especially, be humble. Let go.
With everything that's gone on and so important to you, and since day one, your children, now grandchildren, and your wife, because
Right.
your wife is your partner, your best friend and thing, her faith becomes stronger because of everything that's been.
Debbie has always had a love for Mary, for Bernadette, for Lourdes, for God. She's a person. Like I said, she's a saint. Debbie, she doesn't need me. She's grounded. I need her more than.
You take this to all these places. Do you go with the somebody else?
People have taken her, and people over in Chicago, or people over her, and I accompany her. The family's so important. Look at the family unit today. There are so many kids that are becoming, they're pregnant. There's no marriage. Marriage is becoming we're imploding. I look at the unborn. I look at little girls having babies. My heart goes out. I want to do more with the unborn. There are a lot of women that have, given up their children, and they are miserable. And the only thing I can tell them is, you go to the Rosary, go to Mary. One of the things that I think Mary loves children and the unborn is, you got to remember that when Mary gave birth to Jesus, Herod said, kill every newborn male. Think of that is a true sorrow that Mary felt at an early age. I've just given birth to the Savior, yet we've got to run to Egypt, because the loss of little children at that time, that's how come the unborn, and when we lose 70 million unborn babies worldwide, what's happening, my heart goes out, especially to the women that feel so guilty now. I say to them as a man, you'll never have a baby, but I don't judge. But if you need healing and forgiveness, here's the Rosary. Go commit to Mary, commit to the Rosary, commit to the unborn. And it's amazing how women are literally going back, they're going to the Rosary. It's amazing.
Now, you're very spiritual. We've talked to you. You're a very genuine guy. You don't come across as pushy with your beliefs, but you're very strong in your beliefs. Do you think that has that hurt you in any relationships with either friends or work?
Well, you know, if somebody's going to judge you, then are they really your friend? I will never deny. Again, I was asked, "Are you going to deny me? You're going to deny my mother," and I'm not going to do that. I'm happy. I look at it this way: if knowing what you know now about the Titanic, if you two were getting on the Titanic, and the captain greeted you and said, "Hey, would you like a life jacket? And well, can I put you down in a lifeboat?" Chances are you're going to go, "Yeah, I'll take a life jacket. I'll go. Yeah, I'd like the lifeboat thing."
Yeah, that option.
Well, that's what spirituality is offering you: a lifeboat, a life preserver, and it's not my business to judge. I just know that there are so many people out there that are so broken, and everyone has one thing in common: we want to be loved. And that's what I love about, that's what I love about Jesus. Politicians killed him. His friends, the gatherings killed him, especially the politicians and the priests. What was his message? Love. He was such a threat. We're going to get rid of you. It's amazing. It's simple. It's love, love, love.
So it's probably an obvious question, but I have to ask it anyway. Are you at peace?
Oh, yeah. No question. Very peace. Like I said, when you sit across from a woman that's having chemo, or there's a friend of mine, he's 19 years old. He cannot move, he cannot speak, he's got muscular dystrophy. I saw a little kid that I got to know 2 years ago. He's 14 years old. He just passed away yesterday. I'm at peace. I wake up every morning, try to outgive God. Think of the gifts that we have. Come on. Think of the gifts. Try to outgive God. Give to those that are in need. Be kind to one another. Don't judge people. That's what I like to do, is not judge. Just
Before we go visit the statue of Broken Mary, we had this talk in the car, and because of everything that you've gone through, your faith and everything, we talked about this about God, the tragedies that happen in the world. Why, in your opinion, do they happen, or why does God let them happen? We talk about children and, people dying, or why did this happen to this person? What's your opinion on that?
We've been told what to do. I have so many people that I watch the news or I just get on social media. It's like, man, I just shut that off. I say to some folks, there was one person that was telling, "Oh, you got to do this and you got to do this, and you can't believe in Mary. You're a blasphemer, da-da-da-da-da-da-da." And I go, I just got a text message from God. He said you can take the day off. Seriously, look at he wants you to take the day off. We can do what we can. There's good and there's darkness, and it's which do you choose to walk towards? We could be doing so much. We could be feeding people. We could be curing people. We could be, but there's that dark side. There's that demonic out there that is like hates Mary, hates what I'm doing, hates. And you know what I love about Mary? She is so powerful. Demonic. They hate her because they can't beat her. She's amazing. She is truly amazing. She is a mother. Your mom would protect you. Moms protect, and she is our spiritual mother.
And with all the faith that you have, what's your thoughts of when you leave this world? What do you think happens with your faith and with what Mary has taught?
If you read, Mary, like I said, in the 12th century, gave Father Dominic in France the Rosary because he needed a weapon. And here it is from Mary herself. And Mary promises people that really live and are devoted to the Rosary. See, when people go, well, you shouldn't, you like Mary more than you do Jesus. Mary, Jesus, Jesus said, if it makes my mother happy, I'm happy. And you got to remember, Mary is the one that will take you to the cross. She was at the cross. She gave birth. She saw everything. The Rosary is the gospel according to Mary through her eyes. And to answer your question, as far as the question was,
I was just saying, as far as when we leave our Vestal, what do you think?
Mary promises, and so does Christ.
Yeah.
My next book, I almost want to write a book, but I'm not going to write another book.
Yeah.
I keep thinking, heaven might not be that crowded.
Yeah.
For some, that's my title. I don't know why, because it's so sad that people deny, or are they going to be locked out? Again, it's that Titanic. Do you want a reservation in a lifeboat? You want to preserve her. But Mary promises, the promises of the Rosary are absolutely beautiful.
Well, we're going to be right back with more of Hero Television. We're spending the time with Kevin Matthews, and we're going to go over the statue.
And you can see Broken Mary. You haven't seen her. Well, you saw her for a little. What was it like when you saw the statue?
I think I was in awe, just the awe of, because there's so many different.
What did you feel?
I felt peace.
Okay.
And I felt that everything's all possible with faith, and with seeing Broken Mary, I was thinking, what's it going to look like? Because I mean, I mean, you see so much, or you think so much, or what the depiction of Mary is going to be, because it's like, Jesus, how many different statues of different things? But this one was completely different than any other one I've ever seen before.
What did you feel?
I felt the same thing. I mean, I saw you lecture at St. Juliana's in Chicago, and obviously I was a fan of yours before that. And honestly, as I was driving home, I met you there, I saw the statue there. As I was driving home, I felt something seriously that I had never felt before. I mean, I write for a living, and I still can't put it into words exactly. There was a power, and there was a strength, and there was a peace.
Yeah.
And really, since then, a lot of things seem to have kind of fallen into place for me.
Plus, after you saw me, I think you said we should go over and do a story on Kevin. I think truly you want to see the broken statue more, and you listened. I've had the last time I was in Chicago with the statue, I literally watched priests fall to their knees, or I've had women. There was one woman, she fell to her knees, just crying. It's Mary. This is the statue. Mary. This is a statue, but it's Mary. It's her presence, her grace. I can't even put into words the word grace, the beauty, the love Mary has is just beautiful.
Okay, we'll be right back with Hero Television.
This is Pastor Freddy, and you're watching Hero TV.
Welcome back to Hero Television, as we're here with Kevin Matthews talking about his book and also about Broken Mary. And we are here with the iconic statue that you found. I mean, and what goes through your head every time you see her? Because it's like the journey you've been on with the statue.
What do you think? I mean, you said you were about to say something when we moved the camera, and I'm anxious to hear what you have to say.
When I saw you at St. Juliana's, it was a packed house. There's no exaggeration. That place was packed. There was standing room only. And I didn't really know what to expect. I knew about what you were going to speak. I saw people crying. I saw grown men crying. I saw teenage boys crying. I cried. It was hearing you talk, hearing your story, the story of Broken Mary. It moved me in a way probably that nothing ever has moved me. And then going up to I wanted to come up and take a selfie with you. I'm big fan. And when I got by the statue, again, like we had said in the early part, I felt such a power, such a force. It's hard to explain. It almost like knocked me off my feet.
Yeah. Well, that's what I love about her is, and you too. I mean, have you touched her yet? Or, again, and as we move in here, you're being called. You were called. You came here. And what do you do now? You know, you'll hear you know what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Do you think the rosary is something, obviously it's all a personal choice. Is it something to be said daily? Is it?
Yes, if you can. If you can't, just a Hail Mary, just 3 Hail Marys, just 7 Hail Marys. Yes, if you can, it becomes part of you. It becomes part of you. And again, people, you know, we make rosaries. Rosaries are being said all over the world. But at the same time, rosaries have been abandoned too. They're not said in churches. They're not said in, and she's like, she told you to, she brought us the rosary.
Well, we definitely appreciate your time today, and I mean, if you have a chance, go to the website, go read the book. I mean, this is such a important.
You know, you asked me the question. I can remember how I ended the book. And I'm writing the book, and we've got the Broken Mary statue, and I'm like, and there was a renovation of the church, and, you know, somebody put Broken Mary away, and I'm thinking, it's over. You know, the book's never going to get published. I felt sorry for my, I was at church, and Father Mark, all of a sudden this little kid comes up and tugs on Father Mark and says, Father Mark, my family, my mom wants to know where Broken Mary is because we need her for prayer. And that's how I ended the book. It's all this little kid just came to say, you know, it's the children that will save us. But, you know, we never thought, this will never get published. Sister Lucia sent the book off to 3 of the biggest publishing companies. There was a bidding war.
Wow.
You know, she wants it done. It's not about me, it's about her. And I'm fortunate enough where the book is given to churches for free. It's Stephen King makes money on books. We don't. You know, it's the message. So I'm very blessed. It's not about me, it's about her, because she takes you to her son.
Well, we definitely appreciate your time. And again, for myself and John personally, growing up listening to you,
Thank you.
You've been a true hero to us because of not only just listening on the radio, but what you did with that vessel.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't have to donate all the money. You didn't have to do all those fundraisers. You could have just been the, quote, shock jock, as they call it back then, and just make your money. But to see the humanity side, the other side of the radio, to see you talk about your kids, your wife, and your values that you brought to all of us to be a better person, and then to a whole 360 in one way because of a life-changing, or my coach, Coach Newton from York High School, a forever moment. That forever moment at the flower shop where you said, this is what I have to do. And I know all the viewers out there appreciate everything you've done and appreciate the message that you're sending, that there is hope. In a world that's chaotic, there's hope.
Yeah. So thank you very much.
Kevin, it's been a pleasure, and really, you know,
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
you've helped a lot of people now, and you helped a lot of people all through your career. It's really been a pleasure, and people really read the book, check the book out, download the app. It can only do good things for you.
Yeah, you get everything at brokenmary.com, the book, the rosaries, the story, everything. So, and you're more than welcome to take her, because you're being called now.
Well, there you have it, fans. Another special edition of Hero Television, and we'll see you next month here on Hero Television.